What is up, everybody? Today we're talking about if Cardi B is becoming a TV star and a lot more on Black Hollywood Live's The Trend.
Came through drippin', drip, drip. Came through drippin', drip, drip. Came through drippin', drip, drip. Diamonds on my wrist, they drippin'.
Came through drippin', drip, drip. Came through drippin'.
I have no diamonds on my wrist.
Came through drippin'.
I'm trying to see if you got a
I
little
just have
diamond.
one of gold bracelets. I ain't got no diamonds.
You ain't got no drip on your arm?
drip.
You ain't got no drip?
Well, I still got drip. It just ain't diamonds. Okay.
Okay, I feel you. All right, I feel you.
It's just not diamonds.
It ain't diamonds. All right, I got you.
I'm actually not a big diamond fan, but that's another
Really?
conversation.
You are? Okay, all right.
Yeah,
all right.
we're
What's
very
up, everybody? Welcome to Black Hollywood Live's The Trend. I'm your host, Derrial Christon. Joining me today is Courtney Stewart.
What up, y'all?
We also going to have a special guest going to join us in the second half of the show from CW's All-American. Her name is Karimah Westbrook.
Woo woo.
She's
talking
gonna
about new shows.
New shows on CW, Black folks.
on
Oh,
CW.
jinx.
How do we do that?
How we do that? We in
was on
sync,
it.
girl. We
on
in
it.
sync.
We own it. We own it.
We in sync. How's your week, Courtney?
Thank God it's Thursday.
Thank God it's Thursday,
Been
right?
getting through it. Been getting through it. I'm ready for Halloween, actually.
Oh,
And I
me
feel
too.
like I need to do something Halloween-y, even though I'm not a big Halloween person to begin with. But, like, I feel like I need to hayride it or something. Like, I don't know.
That
I
sounded
need
kind of
to do
dirty.
something.
I don't know why.
Oh.
I don't know. That was
Derrial. What's in that cup? Oh, my God.
It's H2O, the cleanest form. I'm actually going to see Halloween tonight.
Yeah.
I'm hype about it. You know, I try not to read too
Exciting.
much. I know Rotten Tomatoes get about
Don't read anything. Just go
82%.
and enjoy.
I'm just gonna go and enjoy. But I still gotta pick what my Halloween outfits are gonna
Outfits.
be. Well, you know, I like
Do
to.
you have an idea yet of costumes, or are you still?
I have no clue this year. I don't know.
My homeboy posted already. He's like, I got my 3 ready, and I was like, how you got 3 and you already done? Like, I don't have none.
Yeah, I don't.
I
Yeah.
have no idea. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, one of them is a masquerade party, so I know that's kind of
that's just
easy.
like a
That's just
mask
wearing a
and
little
like,
mask.
oh,
But the
that's-
others, I don't know. Like I
that's
usually am really good this year.
dirty.
I gotta go this weekend and really
You're not
try. And,
inspired.
I don't know why. I'm not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why?
I just don't feel like going to the stores with the crowds.
Oh, okay. Well,
That's it.
order it online.
Oh, that's
Well,
true.
see, that's what you need to decide.
But see,
like
it's too
now.
late now because now it's gonna be all
It's pretty
extra
close. I mean,
shipping
you could
costs.
do it by this weekend. If you do it by
This
like
week, what, 2 weeks out?
tomorrow,
Okay, yeah, maybe.
You got time. You got
All right,
time.
we
You got time.
All right, what are we talking about today besides
Let's
Halloween?
Start off with the Queen Bee, y'all. She's been in the news this week because apparently everybody mad at Beyonce. Like, this kind of came as a little bit of a shock to me, not for real, but like kind of, I was like, what? So this company by the name of Morning Consult did a survey, basically a research among adults in America, Democrats and Republicans, and they were trying to determine who, in terms of celebrities, are, you know, the most liked or disliked or have the most problem with Democrats versus Republicans. And it turns out that Beyonce divides Democrats and Republicans more sharply than any other celebrity on this planet.
Really?
Including people like Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity. Beyonce causes a bigger divide than people like that.
Really?
Isn't that shocking?
I mean, I don't know, really. I don't know if I'm that shocked.
You don't think why? Why? How? I'm shocked as hell. Because I would think like, okay, for example, Sean Hannity. For those of you that don't know, he's a host on Fox News that he be talking out the side of his neck on a regular basis. Sorry for Fox News fans that might be listening to us that probably are not. Anyway, I would think that like 100% Democrats would like hate him.
Right.
And then like 100% Republicans would hate him. So the divide would be like huge.
Right.
But it's worse for Beyonce.
Okay, so it's the divide of which particular...
It's the divide between Democrats and Republicans, like if it's splitting the nation that way. So like more, obviously a lot, what is it? Her Democrats was like 63% favorable, and she had a negative 3% for Republicans.
Well, yeah, okay, I guess I'm surprised then. Now,
That's not
I
shocking.
mean, that is kind of shocking.
Like,
actually.
come
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
Beyonce?
Yeah.
Y'all that mad that she was not this like smiling, light-skinned black girl that won't say anything, that was very sweet and sang all these love songs and female power songs, and then she came out and put on what they call Black Power uniform for the Super Bowl in 2016, and they got that mad, and they still mad.
I mean, but she was making a statement. I wasn't mad at
Her
her.
statement is my daddy Alabama, my mama Louisiana. Obviously, I got an opinion on this shit, and y'all shooting my brothers. Like, why is that
It's
so
nothing bad. Yeah.
ostracizing? Like, that you're so upset about that. Like, y'all need to check yourselves, Republicans.
I mean, but they're going to be mad at anything that is a sway against them. You know what I mean?
I mean, I guess, but I was shocked.
I mean, to each your own.
Yeah, but just to round out that list so you guys know, in terms of, it's the divide between Democrats and Republicans. Also on the list were Rush Limbaugh, Katy Perry, Ellen DeGeneres. Sean Hannity did finish in the top 5, and so did LeBron James.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And Jay-Z's on the list. He's in the top 10, but he didn't make the top 5.
Okay, but his wife did.
He wasn't quite as divisive as. I wonder why that is. Well, maybe because his star is not quite. As high
Yeah,
as hers.
I mean, obviously he has his own star, but
Of course.
Beyonce
It's
is
just hers
Beyonce.
is-
Yeah, Beyonce is Beyonce.
And her appeal is a bit wider, so
Wider.
more people.
Much
are,
wider, yeah.
I like how you turned your phone off, though.
I know.
Okay, so there you go, y'all. Everybody mad at Beyonce, and I just took that as a moment to say, congratulations, Beyonce. You did that shit. Because if they still mad, you did that. Girl.
You did what you did your job.
You did your job.
Because they still talking about
they
you.
still talking about you.
And
they
it's a
still
long time
mad.
since then.
Okay,
Right.
it's been 2 years.
Right.
All right, so moving on. Speaking of somebody that was mad as hell. Okay, so I feel like we have like another deluge of white folks calling police on the black folks for no reason. Last week we had Cornerstone Caroline up in Brooklyn, who she was at a bodega, and apparently she thought that a 9-year-old little black boy had groped her behind while she was at the counter. And she proceeded to yell at this child and get irate with the mother, and she and the mother had words, and she called the police, supposedly, to report a 9-year-old child for sexually assaulting her. That's what she was saying on the phone. The boy was crying, the boy was with his sister as well, they were both crying, and it was a whole mess of a thing. And it was caught on tape by somebody who was there, and he posted it and wanted it to go viral. The video obviously did go viral. It got over 8 million views. And eventually they brought the lady back and let her look at the video in the bodega of what actually happened. And what actually happened was the little boy's backpack
I was gonna say, the
brushed
backpack.
against her as he walked by. And so she went on the news and actually apologized to the little boy. And this week, the little boy and his mom were on the news, and the little boy said, "I do not accept her apology. She needs help."
I agree with them. Good.
I agree. And there's some word on the street that the Cornerstone Caroline, would like to sue the mother for escalating the events and making it a scene.
I mean, okay, so why does she need to call the police?
That is what
You know
I
what I'm
need
saying?
to understand.
I mean, it's one thing to scold him or say something to him, or where's your mama at, where's your
Yeah,
daddy at?
exactly.
You know, get a little upset. But to call the police, I mean, if he was a 30-year-old man, I understand. But even then, I understand more.
Yes.
But a little kid,
A child, a 9-year-old child. And I feel like I need to go like survey random white people in random neighborhoods and try to understand, why is that a call that is necessary for the police? And I know there's some discussion about making there be some kind of punishment for these types of phone calls.
I
for
think they
people,
should
like
be.
some kind of tax or something.
Yeah.
Because it's a waste of resources.
We're
and
paying
time.
for it. We're paying for it.
Especially if the police have
For
to
the
come
mess
out.
rate.
Yeah, especially if the police have to come out. The police didn't actually come out to that scene, I don't believe. Yeah, but it just shocks me because and you
Are you
see
really
the little
that
boy.
shocked, though?
Well, no, it did shock me because when you look at the video and you see the boy, 9 years old, like you said, I understand saying something.
Sure.
But the idea that you would hold the phone, and mind you, CNN reported that there was no record of an actual 911 call, so she was bullshitting to scare the kid. And knowing what's going on in the country, knowing that 12-year-old children, 9-year-old kids have been shot and killed by police because of phone calls like that, and knowing that little boy probably knows that,
Yeah.
the fact that you would do that at all is disgusting to me. Like, I don't understand.
'cause
As a
I'm sure
human
that
being,
she
like...
probably did it on purpose.
Just like on a human level, like why would you ever do that? Because you could definitely have addressed the issue with the mom,
Yeah.
and with the little boy,
Yeah.
and never had made it a police situation at all.
Absolutely.
And I just can't understand why it's so hard to do.
And then we also had, there was a couple things that were in the
Oh,
news this
there
week.
was-
There was the other little boy who
What was he doing?
selling
CDs or
CDs.
something? And the cop, he was asking the cop like respectfully to like please let him go.
yeah,
And
he has a bruise on
he
his
has a
arm
bruise
now.
on his arm because the cop, and then the cop got irate with his aunt or someone
Yeah.
that was with him. Like
Yeah.
that was a hot mess.
And then he went on Ellen, right? Was he
I
the one
don't
who
know
went on
if he was
Ellen? There
on
was one
Ellen.
there was one little boy that went on Ellen. I believe that was him. If I'm wrong, hopefully I'm not. But I think I think he went on Ellen as
Yeah,
well.
but you see the video, and the kid is like, "I know my rights. Please release my arm."
Yeah.
Don't like. He was super like way respectful beyond what I would have been like probably crazy and hysterical, like whatever. And the cop was just aggressive and unnecessary. And then there was the crazy lady that wouldn't let the grown man into his own apartment, and that was also like in Brooklyn, I believe. But it's just like where. What?
And then like last week, there was the black guy who got the police called on him because he was babysitting the white kids.
Oh,
remember that story?
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like a lot going on.
And there's another one
It's
where
crazy.
there was a father watching his son's soccer game from a car, or he was somewhere like off to the side watching the soccer game, and got the police called on him because he was sitting there watching the soccer game. Like, is this like why is this
Where are
funny?
we? I mean,
what are we supposed to do, white people?
Yeah, I mean, we can't. Literally, we can't walk by being black. You know what I mean? Like, you can't walk and be black at the same time.
What are you
can't.
supposed to do? Like, and I don't. What are we supposed to do, man?
I mean, I do agree, back to what you said, that there should be some type of repercussion because, you know, to stop this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Use it in an emergency.
Yes.
The cops, you use them in an emergency.
In
There's
an
a lot of things going on in the world
Thank you.
that the cops need to be taken care of. You know what I mean?
Yes.
People are being shot and things like that. So let them...
Or when there's harm coming your
or,
way. Like the 9-year-old boy, even if he did grope you, let's say he groped you, he can't hurt you for real.
And how old was she?
She looked like...
I mean, you can't go by the look.
She looked like she could be a woman of a certain age, like 40s, early 50s maybe.
Okay.
Somewhere around there. You know, whatever. It just don't make no sense.
It don't make no sense.
Like, let's just talk to the kid and be like, yo, did you just touch my booty?
Right.
And he would have been like, no. And we're like, okay, are you sure? Whatever.
White folks, stop calling the cops on black folks.
Stop calling the police.
We are not.
The
climate is not. It's not the time.
Okay.
It's not okay. It's not the time.
That escalates it immediately by saying you calling the police, and it turns it into another whole situation. And most of this stuff is, you know, neighborhood-ish that you can squash with your neighbors. Why are we so scared of our neighbors?
Scared.
I ain't scared of my neighbors.
I'll tell you, I ain't scared of my neighbors.
I talk to my neighbors. I'm like, can you not do that? Thanks. That's all you got to do.
That's all you got to do.
That's all you got to do.
All right, well, don't mess with Courtney. Shit. We're gonna move on to
Actually, I'm not even that bad. Like, I don't be telling my neighbors to do shit for. I feel like when we live in apartments. I live in an apartment. Like, some shit you just gotta accept is the case because you live in an apartment.
Yeah, I mean,
and you just gotta let shit go.
You just
but
gotta let
I did have a neighbor that was.
What would be the why you call a cop on?
I wanted to call a cop on my neighbor who came over to my house talking about, it's really like this noise like in your room, and I literally had just moved in, like not even that long, and he just like was really weird in the beginning, and then he complained about this noise and this knocking in my room. And I was just like, okay. Turns out, I don't want to tell the story because this is about to turn inappropriate. But it's not really inappropriate. The only thing that was wrong is that my bed frame, I lost the bolts. Mm-hmm. So I can't attach my headboard to the frame. Mm-hmm. So this sounds way worse than it is.
I'm not saying nothing.
So even if you like sit on the bed, it taps the wall. But it's not like...
Uh-huh. That's right.
Whatever.
Right.
The point is,
tell yourself that, Court.
It was not loud at all. Like you cannot. There's no way it was like so disturbing that it was like a serious problem. And I was just like, you really calling me? Like you really over here talking about like that's what you? Okay, all right. So I just I put a sock behind the. I hate you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Listen. We are not in the climate for me to make any comments about that at all. We're gonna move on. Speaking of climates, we're gonna move on to our EUR Web Story Spotlight of the Week.
EUR Web Story Spotlight of the Week.
Well, speaking of the current temperature between the male and female relationships in America, Whoopi Goldberg, who is very outspoken.
Yes, she is.
We all know her from The View and from Oscar-winning
everything.
The Ghost and actress
fabulous.
and comedian and her fabulousness. She went on a rant recently in England about the Me Too portion of the Me Too movement. Basically, she was talking about women who were using their sexuality to get film roles and award shows and
to get Oscars.
and
Selling pussy for Oscars.
Basically,
Is essentially what she said.
Basically what she said. And she pretty much went on a long rant about that and how, she felt that some of it was very inappropriate, the way women are handling the Me Too movement and what they're saying and how they're using their bodies in ways to maneuver in their career. So this is what she said exactly. It's like if some guy said to me, we're going to have a meeting up in my hotel room, you don't effing go. You don't go. And if you do, cop to it. Say, that's right, I went up there and had sex with that ugly-ass man so I could get an Oscar and a Tony. All right, Whoopi. And am I talking about myself? No. We have to teach young women better, she said. And then she went on. This rant was on October 13th in Leeds, England. She said, she also blasted men for coming after women who had used the Me Too movement to reveal sexual attacks. Apparently, she said, apparently American white men are angry because they're at the top of the food chain. They can get anything they effing want, but it's not enough, so they're coming after our women. She said, women are saying, are you kidding me? You can't put this genie back in the bottle. Women are not taking any BS.
Not anymore.
Whoopi was going on.
She went on. She got a little flack for it because, there's argument about, oh, she went to the hotel. It's not her fault and all of that. And I think what I at least take from the core of what she's saying is that there is a level of personal responsibility because, and I think I've said that when we first started talking about it, like there are definitely women that were in position and they, in order to move faster in their careers or go whatever, they were willing to not speak up if something inappropriate happened to them because their career was more important. And I think that we have to own some responsibility in that. And that is also partially why these men were able to continue to perpetuate this behavior with no punishment because there were people that could have spoken up. It may have shifted the direction of their career, how quickly they got to an Oscar or what have you, but if they were in a position of enough power that had they said more or said something that they could have helped sooner. And I think that we should actually own that responsibility. And as women as well, I think that she was saying we have to teach our girls better. And I think that this idea of a lot of women are very easily want to please and say yes and not, even if they feel uncomfortable, like going up to the hotel room, it's like, well, I don't want to upset him. He's in power. He's in control. Like the ability to assert oneself, we should be teaching that a little bit stronger than we have in the past to women.
I agree with that.
And I think that would be helpful. So I know people came for her kind of hard.
They did come for her.
I mean, it's hard because you don't want to be like, it's like in one breath you're saying women should speak up and these men suck for not wanting women to speak up, but then you're saying these women got to take responsibility for walking up to the hotel room. So it's like,
and then she got on the men too. You know what I mean? She kind of hit every category.
Whoopi's grandma at this point, and we love her. And
she cranky. She might have been cranky.
She's just saying what
she's saying what she want to say. I ain't mad at it.
Because when I'm, however old
she's 62, 62, I think. 62.
Yeah, I'm gonna be saying whatever I want.
I think you say whatever you want already.
I kind of do, but not. I don't. I really don't. I still filter a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot. I filter a lot. Okay.
Yeah. So all right. Well, I feel that. I feel that. I mean, okay. So I do have one quick question with this because where does it go from here? Because we are in a state where, we saw what happened to Bill Cosby. We see what's happened to Harvey Weinstein and other men. Well, it's just in process, whatever the process is. But where is it going to go from here? Because I think that I still don't feel like there's a proper solution to all of this.
I don't think there's a proper solution. Also because we aren't fully properly addressing it, and I think it's constantly evolving, and women are stepping up and coming up with ideas, and men are supporting and not supporting and that kind of thing. And I think it's just going to take time for us to work through some really murky waters. Right. Because there's still people that want to say, like, everybody out there, this is my, one soapbox moment about this. Everybody out there that's like, oh, well, like Melania Trump in your 2020 interview. Women need to come with hard evidence if they are accusing a man of such and such. And I'm just like, that attitude disrespects the concept that sexual crimes in this country are very specific. It's not a murder scene in the way that, you know, you got the gun, you can look at the bullet, and like, it's a different social relationship that we have with sex crimes in this country and how we define them, what they look like, and we're just discussing what really is a crime. There are women that have been sexually harassed and would have never called it sexual harassment because it's just what exists.
Right.
So to pretend like it's as simple as you bring evidence and that's the only way you can accuse is not fair. It's not a fair assessment of what's actually happening culturally. And I just think if we keep, those people over there are doing that, and then there's people on the other side that's like, anything you say, if you did it, I believe you, and that's also not fair because we live in a country where you're innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
So I think it's going to take a whole lot of work. And there's probably not a simple, clean answer to how to make it more fair. If anything, I think it's just the idea that we're going so far that people can say whatever they want about whoever at this point, but it's empowering people that are the victims to speak up. And I think that's the most important part, is that people need to feel comfortable speaking up.
And I agree with that.
And maybe we'll meet in the middle at some point.
The only thing I hate about it, honestly, just from a man's point of view, is the fact of I obviously think that every man who's disrespected a woman in that way should be banned to their own island. You know what I mean? For sure. But where the weird thing is like now I feel like I can't, like joke. Like even, you and I are really close, and like I would joke with you about certain things that I would not joke with you now because I'm like I get, I'm nervous. You know what I mean? Or other female friends, I'm nervous. It's like, well, maybe I should, it's that banter is different now.
I feel that.
And so it's like, well, where do we find the happy medium and the solution?
I think it's time and information. There's going to come a time where it's not so like, oh God, everybody can be accused of anything.
Yeah.
Like, there will come a time where we live in a cult, I hope, that we honor women in a way that we never have in terms of sex crimes and things like that. And I think that will make it easier and more comfortable for all of us that live in this space that are constantly trying to navigate those relationships professionally or friends and whatever, and it won't be this crazy weird like, oh God, all of a sudden it's all the way over here, the pendulum's way over there, and we're just scared to do anything. Like it's with anything. Like, it's new waters. We got to learn how to swim in these waters.
Gotta learn how to swim.
And learning how to swim doesn't happen overnight.
That's right. Well,
maybe a little bit.
Well, a little bit.
But like, not swim like, what's the boy, Michael Phelps. Like, we try to learn like Michael Phelps type swimming in these waters.
Okay,
not just,
I feel you with that Olympic analogy.
You know
right
what I'm saying? We're not just trying to tread the waters. We got to learn the good stroke that works for everybody.
Yeah, gotta get the good stroke.
There you go. Well, that was almost an inappropriate
analogy.
Right. Dang, man.
Dang, I ruined it. You had a good one too, and I wasn't even trying to be. See?
Oh, whatever. In the end, we all just gotta love each other and respect each other. We'll be all right.
We got a room of respect. That's right. This is a room of respect and love.
Yes, it is.
Well, our guest is here.
Finally,
Karimah
sorry,
Westbrook
guys.
in the house. You came right in time. Our last topic before we get to interview you. So,
perfect.
Everybody say what's up to Karimah.
What's up?
Hey,
We're happy to have you.
everybody.
Congratulations on the new show on CW.
Thank you.
All American.
So
Yes.
great.
Doing your thing. Love seeing my people of color in these great roles.
I know,
especially on
right?
the CW network.
Yeah, the industry it's been a big shift, and so it's very exciting to see.
It is. It's like it's a nice transition. I'm really starting to see.
Feeling it strong.
Even with our last topic, we got Cardi B, who allegedly may be joining the reboot of The Nanny.
Yeah.
If you guys didn't watch that show, it was a big popular show in the
love The
90s. It was
Nanny.
on from like 93 to 99. It had a long run. And
still
Fran
watch it in
Drescher,
reruns.
she has that very interesting laugh voice. And she always wore like the
Yes.
cheetah outfits.
From Flushing.
From Flushing, New York.
Yeah.
And so they're redoing it or rebooting it. And apparently Fran has been looking at Cardi B to play her daughter.
Yeah.
So I know that the deal isn't final yet, but they're in negotiations and talks with Cardi's team, and Cardi's been interested. And Fran says she actually noticed Cardi after in September when Cardi during I believe Fashion Week, she was wearing basically an outfit.
It was Dolce & Gabbana, and she had all this leopard wonderfulness, and she was like, "Oh, ode to the nanny" or whatever in her comment, and that's how it kind of
and it was on on
blossomed
Instagram,
out of
and
that,
it blossomed out of that, and Fran's been saying, she would love she was like, listen to our laugh. She loves the way Cardi laughs. She said our
she
laugh
loves her
together would
voice.
be a great dynamic mother-daughter team.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think it'd be good,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
actually
it'll be fun.
excited.
I just want to know who she would say the dad was.
Well, see, but the cool thing she said on Fran was on Daily Pop on E, and she was talking about, oh, I wasn't sure, because at first she had said, like, I would have to get another daughter, like another baby daddy, because Maxwell Sheffield, they married at the end of everything and what have you. But she was saying her other idea, she started thinking too, like, oh, well, maybe she's the nanny for like our kid or something, and and I was like, oh my God, that's perfect. Cardi B is the nanny.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah.
That would be good. That would be perfect for her.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, I'm here for that.
I'm here for it. You know, and I think Cardi would do it justice. Actually, those two together would be kind of funny. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be good. It'd be a winning little thing.
I think so too.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on to Karimah's portion of the show, but first we're gonna play a trailer to All American. If you guys haven't seen it yet.
Oh, perfect.
Spencer James, Billy Baker, varsity coach, Beverly High. Beverly Hills, huh? Yes, sir. I've had my eye on you. You got strong hands. You match up well against single coverage. I need you to come play for me.
Your camera's here.
Okay.
Welcome to Beverly Hills.
You're here on an academic permit.
Hey, aren't you some like crazy good football player?
So now the show premiered on October 10th.
Yes. So we just had our second episode aired last night.
And I'm hearing that you guys are killing it in the ratings.
You know, it's been getting a positive response. Like we live tweeted last night, and people love the show. They're really into the storylines, and that's very exciting. We definitely want to get our ratings even higher than what they are right now. But it's definitely a positive response from I haven't read anything negative about it, and
you
not
guys
even
have
just
like
from
a
the critics.
90% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like there's lots of positive energy towards the show.
It's certified fresh at
fresh,
this point.
right?
According to Rotten Tomatoes, it's certified fresh.
Hey, that's a good review right there.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for it too because obviously it stars you and Taye Diggs as well. And the last sports show that I loved was Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
I want to cry.
So this to me this gives me like that, like it reminds me of that kind of that passion
and that care level.
That care level.
Story-wise and with the characters, and like you're already, and 3 episodes in, you're falling in love with everybody. Like, 'cause I always say Friday Night Lights is the only show that I still want to know what happened to everybody.
Oh, nice.
Me too.
I feel like you guys are touching those notes already, and it's lovely.
Yeah, there's a lot of heart in this show.
How would you describe the show?
I think the show, ultimately, my son, he's trying to navigate both worlds with Beverly Hills and South Central. And I think, in essence, it really shows how we're more alike than we are different, regardless of where you're from or what you have or your ethnicity or your preference sexually. We all have issues. Everyone's going through something. And so all these issues are kind of exposed through Spencer's journey. We all kind of come together, our family and then Billy's family, which is Taye Diggs' character. And we're kind of exposed to what everyone is going through as Spencer is on his journey of self-discovery, trying to fulfill his dreams, and definitely trying to navigate both of these worlds. And so it's nice because you spend time and we get to see him in Beverly Hills, and then we get to see him in South Central as well. So it's refreshing to see both of those worlds side by side, and you really see how it's not better. The grass isn't greener
on the
over
other
here.
side.
Yeah. So.
And you play Grace.
Yes.
And now tell us all about Grace.
Grace, well, I'm Spencer's mom. I have 2 kids on the show, Spencer and Dylan. And basically, I've just sacrificed, which I think parents should do. I mean, you had kids, so you have to take the responsibility of raising them. And although this was I didn't think it would result to him having to move to Beverly Hills. I just wanted to position him to have more opportunities to go to this school, but then ultimately he had to end up moving into the neighborhood in order to qualify to continue going to the school. So my role is to continue to encourage him, even when it gets hard, as a parent should do, and see this thing through. And even though it's very hard for me, the kids will never know. So I just try to bring as much wisdom and joy into both of their lives, basically.
Now, were you a sports fan prior to being on the show? Did you watch football or a lot of sports?
You know what? I did not watch. I was one of those people when I would go to like Super Bowl parties and I would be like, so what happened? So wait,
Y'all playing baseball?
right. So who is he? So who would do it? I was that person. So I had to learn like some of the positions about the show. I wanted to know like what position he played and what that was. So I had a little bit of a learning curve, but I like shows like basketball. Because I played basketball in high school. I was very active in sports in high school. But football, for some reason, I guess because I just never played, I just never really got
into it.
Yeah, never really got into it.
Yeah.
I can't really tell you positions.
Yeah. You just like.
I mean, I kind of get it, but I don't really.
Yeah.
I don't really get it. I get it.
Yeah.
But you were speaking just a little bit ago about the changes in Hollywood that are happening.
Yes.
How did this project come to you, and was that different? Were you surprised? Were you shocked when you saw what they were doing and it was with CW? Like, how did that whole process work? And then audition-wise, how did you end up with the role?
Yeah, well, it was pilot season, and that's usually the time of the year where shows are auditioning. New shows are being they're auditioning people for the new shows in hopes that it'll get picked up and air on television later in the season. And so I auditioned, and I really liked the writing. I thought that it was refreshing. And I thought that it had a strong message. I'm originally from Chicago.
Go Chi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Chi-town. And I've definitely seen kids like Spencer. I know what it is to live in certain neighborhoods, and being kids becoming products of their environments just because they're there, and there's really seems to be no way out. So I thought that it was refreshing that this story was being told, and he had an opportunity, and to expose all the internal struggles that he had. I feel like it really was humanized in a way that I felt like people could really relate to those struggles. They could relate to my struggles as a mom, what was happening in our world, and then also what was happening with the kids in Beverly Hills as well, the family that's there and the kids that go to that school.
Yeah.
So I liked it a lot. I felt like this show has a lot to say without being like message,
Right.
It's just like the story is happening, and revelations are happening as well as you're watching it. And so my hope was that our younger generation are watching it and are able to see themselves and begin to ask themselves certain questions, to making changes and deciding to do something different in their lives as well.
Well, before I even ask you the next question, I just got to say you're killing it in this purple right here.
Right?
Because
Thank you.
it's like a picture-perfect
like
BHL moment. You got
moment.
it's like, I mean, it's like you couldn't plan it even better.
You know what? This is a coincidence. I mean, it's funny. I looked up the show and I knew the colors, but I wanted to wear this dress. This was like a dress my stylist pulled for me, so I was like,
well, you're killing it.
You're killing it.
Worked out.
So you were kind of talking about this a little bit earlier. We've seen a little bit of a change of Hollywood with roles and opportunities.
Yes.
Do you think that is, are you experiencing that as an actress? Like, are you really seeing like a lot more roles opening up for leading Black actresses and producers and directors of color?
Absolutely. It's so exciting. I used to get very emotional about it, like reading stuff, and at one point you knew all the actresses. You knew it was like 5 actresses that were working. You were like, okay, Nia Long, Smile Laven, Gabrielle Union,
Right.
But now it's like, it's so many people I don't know, and it's like I'm researching. I'm like, oh, that's cool, And at one point it wasn't like that. You had to be a star basically to be working, and now there are so many actors and actresses that are getting shots that they wouldn't have gotten before unless they had some sort of big resume or a big name. And also with like showrunners, I went to CW, had a celebration of women this past week, and there were so many showrunners that's running the shows on that network. And I'm like, wow, like 10 years ago, that was kind of like unheard of. You didn't really see that. So I definitely see the progress. I mean, people like Issa Rae.
Killing it, yeah.
It's happening. People are creating, doors, kicking down doors, and it's refreshing to see, and it's very exciting because there's so much talent out there, and so it's an exciting time for sure.
And it seems like networks are starting to take bigger chances too. I mean, traditionally
Finally.
what I thought of what the CW were very specific types of shows.
Yeah.
And I feel like that formula now is starting to change because they do see, hey, black folks bring, bring numbers to television, movies.
Yeah.
We are creative in writing and directing, and we can make it happen. And we have a loyal audience that follows us to those places, and not just a black audience.
Yeah.
So it is refreshing to see. I have we've talked about this too on the show. There's a little bit of a fear that I have that it's like it's not always going to be that way. Like this is some temporary thing to fix the trend, and I don't want that to be the case. Yeah, we're hot right now, but it's like I'm hoping that with, as you were saying, so many showrunners and so many people even behind the scenes that continues.
I don't think there's any turning back.
Yeah.
Okay. It's too widespread at this point. We have people in powerful positions now that can hire, and before you had to have like $1 million to create a project. Now people are making projects on their cell phones.
Literally.
And it's getting picked up. And we have Netflix, so we have so many different outlets right now, avenues to get distribution for your projects. I don't think that we're going to go back to like the UPN days, and then UPN had those 5 hot shows, and then those shows were gone. It was like, where are we?
Where the black folks?
Where we? Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think those days are pretty much done for sure. Yeah.
Well, as we're moving forward, I know you also are a content creator yourself. So first, of all of this new talent that you get to see and are seeing popping up, who would you love to collaborate with at this point? And what would you like to do moving forward beyond, after, or on the off time from All American?
Oh my God. I would like to collaborate with Issa Rae. I think she's very funny. I tend to look at comedic writers and creators because I just think that, laughter just brings, joy, and I typically like to watch content like that. But there's a lot of people that's not even content creators, like actors. There's a lot of actors I would like to work with, like Lakeith Stanfield, Chadwick Boseman, Regina King. I mean, it's just so many people that I would just like to collaborate with. And also just to work with as an actor, because I think they're so talented,
Well, we're enjoying, we have to wrap, but we're enjoying watching you blossom and grow, and we're going to continue to support you. You always have a home here at BHL, so as your career grows, please come back in and let us know what projects you're working on.
Definitely. Thank
you. Where can fans find you on social media?
Fans can find me. Supporters can find me. I like to call people supporters.
I like that. I like that. I might steal that.
Supporters can find me on Instagram at only the number 1 and then my name Karimah. So it's only one Karimah. That's my handle. Should I spell it or no?
It's actually on the lower third.
Okay, that's
the lower third.
So that's the same handle for Instagram and for Twitter.
Okay. Yeah. And then they could also catch you on All American on the CW.
On Wednesday nights, 9 Central. Tune in. You will love it. And I feel like people are so excited about the show, but in my mind I'm like, they haven't seen nothing yet.
It's going to get
because I know the scripts, and so that's very exciting.
Yeah. I'm excited to see the rest of the
You're
season.
going to have followers for so long, because those CW fans, they hold on to those shows, and they love them, and they follow them.
Oh, they're very serious. Yeah. I've been seeing it on Twitter, and it's just like...
Yeah, they don't play.
Yeah.
Courtney, where can fans find you?
Supporters, which I love more.
Supporters, right, supporters.
Can find me all over the social medias at Stewart Starlet.
And you can support me all over the social medias at Derrial Christon. You can find me on CBS's This Is LA on the weekends, giving you some lifestyle tips and fun stuff. And be sure to check out All American if you haven't watched it. It's a good show. You're gonna get addicted.
Yeah.
Check out our girl Karimah. She's doing her thing.
Yes.
She's killing that purple.
Thank you.
See y'all next time. Peace.
Bye.
From executives Keven Undergaro, Derrial Christon, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio. Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.